Hi there, this is Bethany Barnard from Stamping in the Barnyard. I'm glad that you found my video. I have been requested by so many to make a tutorial on how to make this box and a card. I took this particular card down to a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator event here in Florida. And this was my swap card, and people were interested in knowing how I made this. And so I'm hoping to make this video today and show you. You take the belly band off. This folds flat and goes in a normal medium envelope. You open it up and you have sort of a dimensional card that would sit up like this. And I used our new bird punch and stamp set in order to make this card. Wanted to show you a couple more examples of how you can use this. I did learn some things along the way. One of the things I learned is that it's actually much easier to make the whole card with designer series paper because it folds even flatter, is lighter, and then you don't have to use designer series paper on here. And I'll be showing you that when I make the card today. So we have this card example. And then here's another example I have using the Ladybug. I do love to use a stamp set with a coordinating punch just to make it quicker, and especially if I want to share this with customers. I like for them to be able to make this card quickly in a class. So again, take the belly band off, open it up, and you've got the little Ladybug inside. And then on the back, you can put a piece of paper to add more of what you might want to write to somebody if you were sending them a card. Lastly, as far as samples go to show you, I have a very simplified one here, and I did use designer series paper to make this. I could still put that white piece on here, and probably will before I send it out. But with our DSP that's in the annual catalog right now, you can make this entire card just using the die cuts and the DSP, the designer series paper, that come in that packet. So it's a really great way to make a quick and easy card. And then when you take this off and open it, you have your flippin' awesome. This will be for one of my sons who really does like to cook on the grill. They think they're very good at it, and I'm not saying they're not, they just haven't given me opportunity to taste enough of their food. But this is made entirely just from the DSP packet. Okay, so I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to show you yet another stamp set and punch that I think goes really well for this type of card. And you'll see just how easy the instructions are. I made up this sheet of measurements for you. I thought I would hold it here for a little while if you want to copy it. But the DSP, or the cardstock, is 10 inches by 8.5 inches. When you score it on the landscape, you'll score it at 2 inches, 3.5, 6.5, and 8 inches. And then in the portrait at 1.5 and 7 inches. And then you'll need that 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 basic white piece, one or two. If you're gonna have something on the outside here, that's the white piece I'm referring to. And then inside here, I stamped this sunlight on what was a white piece. So depending on whether or not the card that I'm going to use will be doing it directly on the DSP. So I won't need this inside white piece, but I still will need this outer white side. So I'm going to put this away now. So that's why you have one or two of the basic white and 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then you'll need a belly band, which I measure as 1 inch by 9.5 inches, and then some punches or dies to put this focal point on your belly band, such as this one or this one. And here you can see I've used 2 different punches here, and I'm going to do the same with the card that we make today. So let's get started, and hopefully you have these measurements, but you'll see this is a very quick and easy card to make. So I am using, this is retired paper now. This is from our wave set paper that came out in the pre-order, and I don't remember the name of it, and that really doesn't matter because you can't purchase it now anyway. But whenever you have a designer series paper that coordinates with a stamp set, and especially a stamp set and punch, it makes it a very easy and quick card with a little bit of a wow. So I wanted to show you here that you will measure first at 2 inches, and then at 3.5 inches, and then again at 6.5 inches, just like my instructions say, and then at 8 inches. And then you will turn it to a portrait orientation, and you will score it at 1.5 inches and 7 inches. And that's it. That's the only scoring you need to do on your sheet. And again, you can do this with designer series paper or cardstock, but it is really helpful because this designer series paper folds a little bit crisper than our cardstock would. In fact, saying that, I think I'll get my bone folder out because we're going to want that. And the first thing you want to do is, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I'm going to fold these so that hopefully on the camera you can see it a little bit better. So we have 2 vertical folds here, and then we have 1 on each side here. It doesn't matter which way you fold these to be able to do it. And if you're doing this at home and not trying to get a video of it, it's probably less important. But I'm taking this square right here. So you have your center 3-inch piece here, and you're going to look at those squares on either side of that tab, and you're gonna, it doesn't have to be exact, but you're gonna just approximately cut halfway between those 2 score lines. So you have 1 score line, 2 score line, and you're cutting halfway through up to the first score line. But you're gonna do that on all 4 sides. So here we go. I'm gonna cut this away. I don't know if you hear the sizzling of bacon in the background. It's Memorial Day, and I have children home, thankful for that, and we're getting ready to have a little Memorial Day cookout. And I can smell the bacon. Okay, and then this side. And then finally this 4th side. Okay, there you go. So now you should have your paper looking like this. Okay, now you want to take and finish up coming to that next score line here, because these are going to be your tabs to fold in. And I always like to miter any of my tabs, so I'm going to go around and do that to each one. And that helps you to get some nice straight edges. Okay, so before I put this together, but that's all the cutting you have to do. And then because I'm going to stamp directly onto this designer series paper, I'm going to take the lighter side. Of course, it all depends on what the pattern is and what you're looking for. And you can always put that white piece inside to build up your picture too. And I just realized, and I'll put that on this paper afterwards, there's one more measurement that I have forgotten to put on there. Okay, so I'm going to start with the shaded spruce, and we are using the Well Done stamp set. I love this stamp set. A lot of nice verses in here. You have thanks a ton, well done. My love for you is bigger than the ocean. You're kind of a big deal, and especially hoping all your birthday fishes come true. I love that. This is still available, and it does have this coordinating punch to punch out the whale. So it's a great set. I love using it, and it's what I've chosen to use today. So we are going to start with some seaweed along the front. And I just dropped one of them. Okay, so this is great because I'm going to be stamping all along this edge. So I'm going to fold down this bottom tab here. But with these stamps, I can make it go the way they intended it to up from the bottom, but I can also turn it upside down and get it to where the seaweed ends up looking a little bit different. And we have this one. And this here. Now I'm going to be a little bit mindful of where I'm going to pop my pieces up inside the box. So because I stamped on this side, I'll have something come in this way and then at the top come in this way. This will make more sense once you see the finished product. But I'm going to finish up with some seaweed. You can put it in this middle. It's going to be a side of the box, but there's no reason why you can't stamp on at least that part. And then finally, these will end up being the outside tabs that you'll see. So I'm going to make this one really tall, and I'm going to do this upside down. There is actually another cute little seaweed stamp, but I dropped it on the floor already, and rather than interrupt the video, I'm just going to keep going and only use this one seaweed stamp, but there is really another nice cute one that goes with it. So I'm going to put this away, and then I'm going to add some fish. And so using Calypso Coral, whoops, and these little fish, and I love this fish stamp because the fish can go either way. I can make them swimming in this direction, or they can be swimming in this direction. And I just love that you have those options. So I'm going to put a little bit more of these fish on the scene. And I think I'm going to put another one maybe down here, because the other thing I want to use the Calypso Coral for is, of course, a little bit of coral. So I'm going to put a piece of coral down here and maybe another one here. Okay, there we go. So this is helping to get ready. You can see that these are the outside pieces for when it's a box. So you can see that you're going to be able to see this on the outside. In fact, it makes me wonder if I want to do one more bit of fish up there. And I think I will. So we go. Because I'm going to have my belly band go right across this, so it's probably going to cover up these fish when I do that. In fact, I probably, oh, it's all good. You can just keep going with these things and never stop, right? Okay, so now we're at a point where we can put these together. So that's what we're going to do now. So these are our tabs. And the first thing you want to do is you have a score line here and here, and you want to bend it so that they're parallel, just like this. And then do the same thing to the other side. So you should get this point, and then you're gonna do it at both ends. And then turn this way. Okay, and then you're going to be putting these tabs up as well. And now you're going to push that in, fold it this way. Push that in, fold it this way. I hope that makes sense. If I take them out again, after however you folded it, once you take it out like this, you're now gonna bring this up because you've got your score lines there, whether you've done it this way or this way. It's easier for me if I take this and take this score line and line it up with this. And so initially when I do my scores, they're on the outside, but you could also fold this flap in first and then take this piece and line it up there. If you do it that way, then everything's all set up for you for how you're gonna make this box. But those are the score lines, because basically all you have to do at this point is put glue on here and shut these, and you'll be all set. Now I like to hold them in my hands to do that. So you could do that if you feel more comfortable. You can, as I just said, put glue on these two tabs and then just shut these. The Tombow liquid glue is my favorite because it really is the strongest glue, even stronger than tear and tape. Tear and tape is fast and easy, but this is really gonna hold. If I can get it to come out, that is. And I just, you know, I try to keep it away from the exact edge of this because, you know, it can leak out. And then I just line it up here on the side. And then I like to take my bone folder in and just make sure I've got a nice bit stick in there and that these look nice and match up evenly, and it looks like it does. And then you do the same thing to the other side. And again, you bring it up. And then you can always lay it down, bring your bone folder in, neaten that fold up. And then you've got this side. Favorite glue for sure. I'm not squeezing to get any more out. I'm actually just trying to bring all that glue into the center because I don't like it when it starts spreading everywhere. Because if you have the glue on the outside of your card box or the inside, when you fold it shut, it's going to grab that glue and stick where you didn't mean for it to stick. If you ever have that problem though, a tip for you is to take your embossing buddy and then just put, or powder or something, and just put it over where it's sticky. Okay, and then finally, this tab, it's our last one. I'd love to have you visit me over on Stamping in the Barnyard. That's my business Facebook page. And you can put your samples of this card up on there. I'd really love to see what you've done with it. A lot of my team members have made some cards, and I'll, maybe share some of those with you on my page, but they've just been so clever with their ideas of how they make these, and I love to see all the different options of them. But you can see that now we have a box, but how does it fold? Well, you just push those in, you fold it flat, and I'm just going to remind you that this fits in our normal medium envelope. But now we want to put the decorations on the inside, and this is where I did forget to tell you dimensions for this part. So I'm going to take, just to show you how easy this is, I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper here, and I'm just going to approximate about 3/4 of an inch. But if you don't want to approximate, you can measure 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inches, because those are the measurements that you use. So I'm going to take these pieces, and once you have them, the first thing you're going to do is just fold them in half and crease it, and then open it up and fold each end inside there again. And this will give you 4 equal measurement parts. And this is going to be our lift mechanism. So there, I have just folded that into 4 equal parts so you can see how that makes a square here. So I'm going to do that with both pieces. So I'll do that again. Fold it in half. And then tuck an end into that half. You do want to shut it all the way because you want to make sure it's gone all the way down to the bottom. That's how you make sure that you've actually divided into 4 more or less equal pieces. There you go. So when I open it up again, you'll see this square again. And this is going to be the mechanism that lifts up our greeting and our whale. So I'll show you that now. So I've got this opened all the way, but it's been segmented into 4 equal measurements. And I'm going to take my glue again, and on a piece that's on the open end, just on the square, I'm going to put some glue. And with the glue face down, I'm going to put it up against this wall. So you can see I have 2 equal pieces showing because there's the 2 underneath. But I've only put the glue on one side. And now I'm going to put some glue on this section. And I'm going to close my box. And you want to give it time for that glue to adhere to the side of the wall. But you'll see that when I bring it up, because it's folded in, it's going to pull up that box. See, there you go. And that's where we're going to put in the chosen verse. Now I want to do the same thing up here. So I'm going to fold this flat again on one of the squares of the open side, not on the middle folded bit, but at the end. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Face down. And up against, this is what I'm calling a wall. So it's up against the wall. And now I'm going to turn this upside down just so it's easier reach for me here. But you're going to see that again on this last quarter, I'm going to put some glue again. I'm going to fold the walls down. And while I'm waiting for this glue to go to the side, I have a son who likes to remind me that If you like my video, then more people will see it, and that would be a good thing for me, especially as I'm just starting out with videos. And even if you don't like it, if you would like it, that would make me happy. But I just thought I would make that little commercial break there, because he's stepping in to remind me to ask you to do that. I really don't have a lot of videos yet, but I am hoping to increase them. So from this point now, I'm going to go ahead and put a verse here. And I've chosen to do, my love for you is bigger than the ocean. And I think I'm going to do that in the Pacific Point, which is the same color as these blue veins running through and the back piece here. And it will really stand out. So here we go. Can hardly see where there we go. I hope that's straight, because when you stamp white on white, you don't always see where that is, especially if you're as blind as I am. But then I'm going to stick that right on there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue up here on that tab. I intend to give this particular card to one of my grandsons who's done really well and gotten some awards for the studying he's done for school. And I thought maybe I would put a cash gift in there too. If you have a grandson, you'll know what I mean. I think I wish this was a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna, not for any reason, it doesn't matter. And if you guys are wondering, you only want it to be about 2 inches, because this is a 3/4 inch. I didn't measure mine, but since I told you 2.5 inches, that would be 1.5, 3 inches. I'm sorry, it's going to be 3/4 inch by 3 inches, and that would give you equal squares of 3/4 inches. And you have to, because it's going to move over to this other wall when you fold it, it has to have some, you can't have it the whole 3-inch width that you've got there, because it would bend up. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, so now we're going to do our whale. And I'm going to go ahead and do my whale also, I think, in the, do I want to do that in, decisions. I think I'm going to make my whale Blackberry Bliss instead of, I was going to do it Starry Sky, which is nice, but it's too close to the Pacific Point and I want it to look a little different. So actually I'm going to do it in Rich Razzleberry. Is that going to be too pink? I got to do it with what I have right in front of me, and my Blackberry Bliss is waiting in another box. So I am going to go ahead and do my whale in this new in color Starry Sky. And so I'm going to stamp him. I measured this earlier on and he should fit on there, I hope. I just used one of the scraps I have around because that saves me. I like to use up my scraps. Oh yeah, he comes out nice. I like that. And then you can see that with this punch, you can get this whale out, which we'll do, but there's like an eye you can put on them, and you can cut out this piece, so this is in one color and this is in white, and put it on, so you can build a whale without the stamps. And then it's got water spouts. I love this punch. Okay, so I'm gonna just put it in here. Once I see that I've got them all lined up, punch this whale out. Oh, I know why I usually like the whale over in a different place. Oh, because his snout fits on that better. Okay, so don't you love to see one of these where somebody has made a mistake with their planning so that you don't feel alone when you make a mistake? But as they say, there are no mistakes in Stampin' Up. And I've carefully lifted that up, but you can see how well that glue works because it's taken up some of this designer series paper as well. But I think that's still going to be okay. Let's see how weak that is. It's going to be fine. If I wanted to, I could put a little bit more, like just cut out a 3/4 inch square on there and it would work, but I think this is going to be fine. And I think you'll understand why I did this. But see, I've got this nice, and that's something you might want to think about, this nice big piece here to go over that lifting mechanism. Whereas it was a lot harder with this tail because it's just got that thin piece. And then I'll put my greeting up here instead. So we'll put some glue up here. I am really looking forward to making a lot of these boxes. I think Christmas time, there's all sorts of little treasures you can put inside a box to open for Christmas, and then the recipient can display them nicely. So you can see that folds down and then it comes up. Isn't that nice? I'm really, really liking these stamp sets. Okay, so in the meantime, we can now work on our belly band. And I've decided to do my belly band in the shaded spruce color to match the seaweed that I've put at the bottom. So it only needs to be 1 inch by 9 inches. So I'm going to cut that up. Again, you can see how much this is, the remaining inch if you're going to cut down your paper 10 inches by 8.5. No, it isn't really, because this would be at the other end if you've got 8.5. But I had this spare piece somewhere along the line. But I have cut it down to 1 inch. And it doesn't have to be 1 inch. It could be wider, it could be thinner. But I do have a reason why I like the belly band this width. Of course, I did forget to measure how long it is because I want it to be 9 inches. So I'm going to cut off 2 inches because 2 inches from 11 inches leaves us 9 inches. So that should make this piece 9 inches by 1 inch, as the instructions that I put out at the beginning say. I want you to know how these measurements do in fact work. Okay, so then what I do is I take my card, I fold it down, and I start with this slightly overlapping the center piece here, and then I just move it around and I'm pinching it, and you can see how this is not straight. So then I move it down to where it is straight, and then I use my bone folder. That way you'll get a straight edge, but you'll also know that this is coming right over the center. And then you don't want this so tight that you can't take the belly band on or off. But the other caution is you don't want it to be larger than 4 1/4 inches, because then it won't fit into your medium envelope. So do this last one. And then if you want to, I'm usually pretty confident that that measurement will be less than 4 1/4, but I'll put it here to show you, and it sure enough is 4 1/8, so that means it should fit quite easily into one of your medium envelopes. This folded card measures just a hair past 4 inches. So that's why these measurements work out so well. So then what I do is I put the belt on, and the way I glue it is I check and see which one's more in the middle, but they really are pretty much the same. So you don't want to show this seam. So I take and put a bit of glue on this end, and then a bit of glue on this end. And then overlap it. And then there you go. You've got the belly band on there. And then I am loving this punch. It's still available. I cannot remember what they actually call this punch, but you'd find it in your annual catalog. But I like it because it looks nice either direction that you put it on a card, or in this case on a belly band. And the reason why I was happy with the 1-inch width for the belly band is because these are 1 inch wide right here. And so I turn it this way and I can put it on, and I just think that looks really nice. So that's what I'll do now. And so I know I want it right in the center, but I don't want to go further than the punch. And then you can really decorate this up however you want. I think I still have some sequins left from this suite when it first came out, but that's no longer current, so I may put some of those on later. But I also have a circle punch that I punched out earlier, and it should be right here to my right. And here it is. I was just about to say I could not find it. I'm gonna, because this end is coming up, I'm gonna put a little bit more glue here. You can put these on with dimensionals if you want. We all love dimensionals, for sure. But I think I'm, again, gonna go ahead with the, instead of using the shaded spruce ink for the inside of this, see, I'll be stamping on here. But I'm going to go ahead and use that Pacific Point. And I've chosen, because I'm going to give this to my grandson, You're Kind of a Big Deal. I love circles because you can't put a greeting on a circle not that isn't straight, because if it was crooked, you just turn a circle and then it's not crooked. That's why I like circles for greetings. Okay, and so we'll put this on. And then I'll probably decorate it some more, maybe with some cutout fish or something else a little bit later on, just to make this a little bit more fancy. Of course, you know, I don't need it so fancy for my grandsons. And with this, I've really taken you through, I hope, from the beginning to the end on how to make a box card. So I'm really happy with this. I hope that you like it too, and that you've seen just how easy it is. And there you have it. Just a reminder that you can make these with cardstock. It doesn't have to be DSP. And I've shown you 2 examples where I've done that. The only thing to consider is that it doesn't fold quite as crisply as the DSP does. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you use this model for making some more of your own box cards. And as I said, if you could find Stamping in the Barnyard on Facebook and post in the comments your card box underneath some of my samples, I would just love to see them. Thank you.